Like, why is it like guaranteed that we're getting lies?
Yeah, because it's the game talking. And this is not a shot at him, but he's very extra. Like he lie. Everybody know he but they be good lies though.
And I used to think Eminem was better than me.
So what you saying right now?
He's not. Challenge. Hey, challenge it.
Game, you don't want to go versus against
Yes,
Eminem.
I do.
You spoke about Game, and was there anybody that you felt like you left on stage, or you was good with it?
No, I was good. It was perfect.
If self-sabotage was a Compton Pyru, it'd be The Game. Dude went from being one of the coldest in the rap game with classic projects to turning into a prime example of wasted potential. Between the petty beefs, goofy antics, and cap stories, he stayed in his own way.
What? You photoshopped yourself on someone else and put a picture out with you and Pac.
It's Pac.
But it's not you.
And of course, industry peers to former friends, everyone has exposed the lies, called out the clout chasing, and painted a picture of someone who couldn't stop tripping over his own ego. Let's break it all down. Now, there's no doubt that The Game didn't come from a soft background. He grew up surrounded by the streets, and his family was deep in that life. He even almost lost his life to it. But one of the biggest problems a lot of people in the industry have with him is his tendency to exaggerate, embellish, or straight up lie about his past, just to make himself seem harder than he really was. And one of the wildest examples of this is the long-standing rumor that The Game was a male stripper before he got into the rap game. This rumor has been floating around for years, and at one point, a photo even surfaced of him wearing what looked like a thong, which only added fuel to the fire. 50 Cent, of course, was one of the loudest voices calling him out over it. During their beef, 50 used G-Unit radio to clown The Game repeatedly about his alleged stripper past. The Game didn't take that lightly, and as expected, he went into full denial mode. He said the photo was fake, claimed it was photoshopped, and even accused 50 of being behind it all in a bid to destroy his image.
Somebody put my head on a stripper's body, bro. Like, and I want to say it was 50, bro. But like, what? Like, get the out of here. It's crazy, bro.
But even if someone wanted to say 50 was just being petty, it didn't take long for people who knew The Game before he blew up to come forward. And one of the most damning confirmations didn't even come from a hater or a rival. It came from The Game's own stepfather, Hodari Sababu. In a documentary about the history of hip-hop in Compton, Sababu spilled some details The Game probably wishes never saw the light of day. According to him, he and The Game's mother used to run a male exotic dance club. The whole idea behind the club was to give away for guys fresh out of jail to make money. A lot of these men were recently released, jacked from working out while locked up, but couldn't get decent jobs because of their records. So, the club gave them a way to earn, and some of them were making up to $1,000 a week dancing.
Me and Game's mom, we started a male exotic club. What we used to do, we used to get guys that's just come fresh out of jail. A lot of these guys can't go and fill out an application and get a job, but hey, if they look good, they've been working out, we put them on, man. We get them, we get them $1,000 a week dancing.
Sababu then dropped the bomb. The Game, whose real name is Jayceon Taylor, danced at the club maybe twice. He even said that 50 Cent had every reason to drag The Game over it because it was true.
Jayceon danced there maybe twice, and 50 Cent will not let him forget it.
Sababu's advice to The Game was simple: just admit it, own it, and don't let people get under your skin about it. But The Game didn't take that advice. He kept denying it over and over, and it only made things worse. Because every time he tried to act tougher or more gangster, people were quick to clown him and bring up the stripper rumors all over again. That same energy followed him into other beefs, like the one he had with Young Thug. The whole thing started after The Game decided to insert himself into drama that wasn't even his. During a show in New Orleans, he called out Young Thug for dissing Lil Wayne.
Never been Hollywood, you just been Hollywood cold. You know what the is, nigga. Side of this mother. Everybody do what I was thug up on power.
Thug didn't let that slide. He hopped on Instagram and fired back, mocking The Game's gang-banging past and bringing up his rumored stripper days. One of Thug's boys even held up a gun in the video just to drive the point home.
See, you used to be a Crip, now you're a Blood. So I don't want no smoke with you. You got Bloods and Crips on your team. And you was a male stripper once before, so I don't want to fight you. I don't want no germs from you in this. And you know I'm in LA more than Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he the governor. Oh, yeah.
Of course, the game wasn't about to let that slide, and he fired back on Instagram, threatening to meet Thug wherever he got his nails done. The back and forth escalated, and before long, family members were being mentioned. That's when things started getting real ugly, but eventually, it seemed like the beef had cooled down. Jojo Capone, a mutual friend of both rappers, apparently helped mediate the situation. They both went on social media to say it was over, and for a moment, it seemed like everything was cool again.
They want all blacks to kill each other, but we're not. Black lives matter. So I salute Gang. I respect him. I'm sorry for making that post about him, you know, even though he was wrong.
I seen Thug a video and I think it take a real to apologize and diss. I think the next phase is getting him and Tune shit buried, cause Tune my nigga, and then getting Tune and Birdman to settle their shit and get back to getting their money, you know?
But the Game just couldn't help himself. He went on The Breakfast Club not long after and started bragging about how the beef really ended, trying to make himself look like the bigger man in the situation. As expected, he started capping.
Doug had a quick little back and
You see, yeah, it was real quick. Yeah, real quick. You know.
That was the quickest back and forth.
I mean, you know, it gets real.
Game's crazy.
You know, and I went to Atlanta right after it started, and you know.
Young Thug wasn't having it. He jumped back online, called the Game out, and even dropped a video of the Game apologizing. That put everything in perspective real quick. And if anyone still had doubts, Pee Wee Roscoe, a close associate of Young Thug, confirmed the story. He said he caught Whack 100, the Game's manager, at the mall and made the Game apologize right there. That pretty much confirmed the Game was lying about what happened.
When Game called Slime Gate, you the same. I caught at the mall when y'all walked outside. Oh no, I apologize.
Another one of the Game's lies would show up during his messy drama with Meek Mill. Most people remember this beef. It had to do with Sean Kingston. Back in June 2016, Kingston was robbed of about $300,000 worth of jewelry at a nightclub in LA. Coincidentally, both Meek Mill and the Game were at the club that same night. According to early reports, the Game believed Meek had snitched on him, thinking Meek and Kingston told the police that he was behind the robbery. And just like that, the whole feud exploded. From the outside, it looked like a classic case of the Game trying to pick on someone who was already down. Meek was still knee-deep in a brutal feud with Drake at the time, and he wasn't exactly winning that battle. Maybe the Game figured Meek was an easy target, but this time, things didn't go the way he expected. That's because the Game's usual tactic of making himself look tougher eventually backfired. When Meek Mill challenged the Game to pull up to Philly, the Game tried to act slick and posted a picture of a Philly cheesesteak, implying that he had already pulled up to Meek's city. But things quickly fell apart. Not long after the post went up, some Philly goons stormed Max's Steaks, the spot the Game was pretending to have visited, and the Game was nowhere to be found. And just to make sure, people even asked the employees if he'd been there at any point, but they confirmed he hadn't shown up at all. Another cap exposed.
Was the Game in here? The Game, the rapper, Game. He was never in here? Gino. So the rapper Game, the guy with the beard, with the tattoos, he was never here? No? OG, was the rapper Game in here? Was the rapper Game in here? Game. The rapper Game, was he in here? Not tonight.
But the drama didn't stop there. Sean Kingston got dragged into it when the Game started pointing fingers again. Kingston came out and said neither he nor Meek had said anything to the police about the robbery and that they hadn't even discussed it together. But the Game wasn't trying to hear that. He posted a video blasting Sean, calling him a snitch, and claiming the police had come to his house over Kingston's stolen chain.
Then you sued the club, called detectives, then you called detectives with Meek on the phone, let them speak to Meek, incriminating me and my entourage saying that we robbed you. I had detectives knocking on my door, my crib.
Sean Kingston clapped right back. He blasted the Game for his fake tough guy act, called out his stripper past, and aired out all the rumors that had been floating around for years.
You the same. Your mama was a crip. You a blood. Listen, you fake. You a stripper. The whole world know what you about. Trying to sell some albums. How the f you look beefing with a pop star?
It didn't take long for the whole thing to fall apart on the Game's end. When authorities got involved, they made it clear. The Game was never even considered a suspect in the jewelry case. which means nobody came to his house, nobody questioned him, and all that "the feds came knocking" talk was pure fiction. To top it off, people started questioning a screenshot the game posted on Instagram, supposedly showing missed calls from Meek Mill. It looked like something he made just for clout, another example of him trying to hype up a beef that never was. But the game's lies don't just stop at street stories or beefs, they stretch far and wide, touching almost every angle of his career. Take his infamous butterfly tattoo, for example. Back in the early days, the game showed up with a huge butterfly inked on his face. It was bold, but it also gave people a field day clowning him. For a guy trying so hard to project a hardcore gangsta image, rocking a butterfly on his cheek wasn't exactly helping the cause. Eventually, he covered it up with a star and later tweaked it into the LA Dodgers logo. But even that move didn't stop the jokes. It just gave people more to laugh about. And when he was finally asked why he covered it up, the game didn't even keep it real. Instead of admitting maybe it wasn't the best look for a gangster rapper, he blamed the tattoo artist, saying the butterfly wasn't drawn right, so he had to get rid of it.
Why did you decide to do the LA over the butterfly?
Cause I got it when I was in New York, but he ain't do it right, you know what I'm saying? And it ended up looking like moth.
Most fans weren't buying it. A lot of people said they would have had more respect for him if he just owned it. Like, I got a butterfly once, it meant something to me, and now I'm in a different place. But instead, he gave a flimsy excuse that just made him look like he was ducking the smoke. And this wasn't the only time people started questioning the game's authenticity. If you were around during the mixtape era, you probably heard whispers about his freestyles. Fans are sharp. They started noticing the game using the same bars over and over again in what he claimed were off-the-top freestyles. At first, some people brushed it off. But after hearing the same lines repeated in different videos and ciphers, it became a running joke. For a rapper who prided himself on lyrical ability, it didn't look good.
Red rose, white ceiling. No body, no casket, just blood spilling. I ain't a dead president, but I love millions. They like game where you been. Blood chilling. White ceiling. No body, no casket, just blood spilling. I ain't a dead president, but I love millions. They like game where you been. Game chillin'. Red rose, white ceiling. Nobody, no casket, just blood spilling. I ain't a dead president, but I love millions. They like game where you been. Yeah, red rose, white ceiling. Nobody, no casket, just love millions. They like game where you been.
Then there were the reality TV stunts. A lot of people were surprised to see the game popping up on dating shows, smiling and flirting for the camera. That kind of move might not seem like a big deal today, but back then, for someone trying to keep up a hard street image, it chipped away at his credibility. Clips from those shows resurfaced over the years, becoming another reason people side-eyed his persona.
Actually, he said that he wanted me to meet his mom at his mom's club, and when we got there, I didn't know it was a strip club.
Arena, and she's like, you know, getting her going on like Arena.
One of the most embarrassing moments, though, was when he posted a fake photoshopped picture of himself with Tupac on Instagram, making it seem like the two had met. Fans didn't waste any time calling it out as fake, and the backlash was instant. People accused the game of trying to mislead his followers just to look more connected to a legend.
What? You photoshopped yourself on someone else and put a picture out with you and Pac.
It's Pac.
But it's not you.
When he was confronted about it during an interview, he tried to play it off, saying he only wanted to show love to Pac, someone he considered one of the greatest ever. But the damage was already done, and it just added to the long list of questionable moves that kept making people roll their eyes. And let's not forget the never-ending saga of how many times the game claims he got shot. Over the years, he's told different versions of the story, each one slightly altered from the last. It's gotten to the point where nobody knows what's real anymore because he can't seem to stick to one solid account. Whenever he adds more details, it starts sounding like another self-mythologizing story meant to boost his street rep. Then, there's a darker side to all this. Accusations of scamming young, unsigned artists. Multiple people have come forward saying the game charged them thousands of dollars, promising to put their songs on mixtapes or promote them on social media. But after taking the money, he allegedly went ghost. No promotion, no shoutouts, nothing. But beyond the exaggerated stories, one of the worst marks on the game's reputation is how he constantly managed to beef with big names, burn bridges left and right, and lose a whole lot of respect in the process. Just look at his feud with Jay-Z. Let's rewind back to 2011. The game stopped by Big Boy's show for an interview, and Big Boy didn't waste any time asking the real questions. "What's the deal with you and Jay-Z?" he asked. The Game didn't hesitate. He took it back to 2004, back when he was still on the rise and eager to learn from the greats. According to him, he had pulled up to Jay-Z at the 40/40 Club, looking for some wisdom. He asks Jay how he stays relevant, but instead of the gems the Game was hoping for, Jay supposedly dropped a cold line on him. "Most of you new rappers don't last long anyway. Find a new lane." To the Game, this felt like Jay-Z was brushing him off. The Game took that as disrespect, and that moment, whether it played out exactly like that or not, planted the seed for everything that came next.
I asked him something about, how do you stay relevant? You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really like his answer. So ever since then, I kind of was just, taking shots here and shots there.
Right. So you went up to Jay-Z. He's handing it to me now.
You keep that too.
I will.
That's classic.
So you went up to Jay-Z and you asked pretty much, how do you stay relevant?
Yeah.
All right. And he said, most of you new rappers won't last long anyway. Maybe you should think of another lane.
From Jay-Z's side, the beef may have started even earlier. On the Game's debut single West Side Story, a line stood out, "I don't do button-up shirts or drive Maybachs." Now, Jay-Z was the king of button-ups and Maybachs at that time, so naturally, he felt that line was aimed at him. Even though the Game later said it was meant for J. Rule, the damage was done. And to make it worse, the Game released a mixtape a few weeks later that included a Jay-Z verse on Get Your Money Right, a verse Jay-Z never authorized him to use. From Hov's point of view, this wasn't just disrespect, it was sneakiness. Tensions kept piling up. The Game and Memphis Bleak, one of Jay's artists, were going at it. And to top it all off, 50 Cent flew into the mix. See, the Game was being pulled into the G-Unit orbit, and he was caught right in the middle of all this heat. Around October 2004, the Game went on Ed Lover's radio show to clarify the whole Maybach and button-up situation. But by then, Jay-Z had already started seeing him differently.
I think it was more geared towards Ja Rule. Because I remember Ja Rule being on like MTV Cribs saying he had the first Maybach and he was in New York, and at that time 50 was beefing with Ja, and so again I just jumped in.
A few months later, on January 18th, 2005, the Game dropped his debut album, The Documentary. On the title track, he tried to clean things up by addressing the misunderstanding and even played back that Ed Lover. He told Complex in an interview later that year, "If I've got a problem with somebody, I'll say their name." No sneak dissing, but that wasn't enough to cool the fire. On February 7th, 2005, Jay-Z and the Rock Crew hit Hot 97 for a freestyle session. Just before his verse, Jay-Z threw some shade. "If you're gonna use my verse, I need 700% of your record." It was directed straight at the Game, who'd used that unauthorized verse from Get Your Money Right. Then he sprinkled in the word game all through his bars, making it clear who he was talking to.
Yeah, I put my verse on your records, I want 700%. I'm coming in for 700%. Now I put my verse on your records, alright? Yeah, Young Guns, set it off, M-Easy, it's like that.
Meanwhile, the Game was touring overseas with Snoop Dogg, having the time of his life, but the minute he heard about Jay-Z dissing him, it got under his skin. He called 50 Cent for advice. 50 told him to hold off on responding to Jay-Z and let him figure out the best move. But the Game wasn't trying to wait. He got on stage in Amsterdam that night and went off, dissing Jay-Z, Rockefeller, everybody in the room. That move pissed 50 off, because now he was tied into drama he wanted no part of.
You know, when he had issues with Jay, and I got a phone call from him, he was in Amsterdam when he called me back in the States, and I told him, I said, just sit tight, let me see exactly what it's about. You know, I'll get in contact with Jay and see how you know, really what it is. Before I could get back to him, he went on stage and told everybody to suck him off. You know what I mean? And that's not how, I'm not comfortable with that. That's not how I function.
Dr. Dre tried to smooth it over too. He called the Game personally after the Amsterdam stunt and told him Jay-Z said he wasn't talking about him at all, but the Game didn't believe it. He flew back to the States and immediately hit the radio circuits. Power 106, Hot 97, everywhere. He tried to talk it out honestly, admitting it hurt because Jay-Z was somebody he'd studied and looked up to, but some of the things he said rubbed 50 the wrong way, especially when the Game started saying he had no beef with anyone, including people 50 had problems with. That's when 50's trust started fading, and the seeds of their own beef were planted. Funny enough, both Jay-Z and 50 had helped the Game at key moments in his career. At one point, Aftermath wanted to drop him. Jimmy Iovine cut his budget, but Jay-Z heard Hate It or Love It and told people, this is a hit. And 50 pulled him into G-Unit to boost their West Coast presence. The same people who boosted his career were now beefing with him. Fast forward to 2006. The Game dropped Doctor's Advocate and aimed some playful jabs at Jay-Z in One Blood. He said, "You 38 and still rapping?" Later, he regretted that line, but he still doubled down in Wouldn't Get Far, throwing Beyoncé's name into the mix and stirring more drama. Jay-Z, who had stepped back from rap to be Def Jam's president, heard it all, and he wasn't impressed. Then came 2008. A fan named JP told a story about meeting Jay-Z at Wimbledon and yelling, "When you gonna go at the Game?" Jay-Z replied with a smirk, "We ain't with him. We're gonna let him commit suicide." The Game heard about it and went wild, dissing Jay-Z in interviews while promoting LAX, taking the line personally because he had struggled with thoughts in the past. Jay-Z hit back in 2009 on a freestyle in Vegas, throwing shots at Dame Dash, Jim Jones, and The Game. The Game responded during a show in France, yelling FJZ on stage. The back and forth continued for years. Songs, interviews, subliminals, more interviews. By 2015, though, The Game was more reflective. He said he was proud he survived dissing Jay-Z and still had a career. "I'm probably one of the only dudes who went at Jay's neck and was still cool afterwards," he said, but that wasn't quite the end. In 2022, The Game accused Jay-Z of blocking him from performing at the Super Bowl halftime show Dr. Dre headlined. His manager Wack 100 said The Game told Jay-Z to suck his D, but The Game later denied that. He said he had no issues with the lineup and respected the culture. Still, he downplayed Dr. Dre's impact on his career and life as if it were insignificant.
And I've never had a Dre beat in my career. I've never had a song with Dre on it and Dre been in my video. Snoop has a ton. M has a ton. I don't have none.
Soon, he was claiming that Kanye West, a man he had previously beefed with over explicit lyrics about Kanye's then-wife Kim Kardashian, had done more for his career than Dre ever did. The world collectively rolled its eyes at this comment, and those who witnessed The Game's early days with Aftermath were quick to call him out. By publicly disparaging the man who had given him a major break, The Game effectively burned his most valued bridge in hip-hop. He has since tried to walk back his comments, attempting to save face, but the damage was done. In the aftermath of the Super Bowl snub, The Game internalized a lot of animosity towards Dre. He even used this bitterness to justify some of his actions, like claiming that his diss towards Eminem was just another way to get back at Dr. If this were an isolated incident, perhaps Dre could have let it go, but it was part of a larger pattern of behavior that ultimately destroyed Dre's respect for The Game. The Game's attempts to undermine Kendrick Lamar were another factor in Dre's distancing. Saluted by Kendrick and Black Boy Fly as a rapper he looked up to, The Game was present when the torch was passed to Kendrick by Snoop Dogg. Over the years, Kendrick collaborated with The Game on several tracks, and it seemed like they were on good terms. However, at every turn, The Game appeared to downplay Kendrick's skills, whether out of competitiveness or jealousy.
Can't nobody in Countdown rap game. Kendrick do it. I love that to death. I flew past Kendrick when that was on foot in a Range Rover and showed him how to do it. Don't play with game name. Hardest in Compton, rapping, lyricist, me.
Once again, The Game let alcohol influence his actions, fostering potential problems with another of Dre's proteges. Despite The Game's attempts to control his narrative, it's easy to see why a lot of rappers have distanced themselves. His disloyalty and ungratefulness have made it clear to people that maintaining ties with The Game is more trouble than it's worth.